Can you tell us a bit about your store?
Well, it opened in 1974. Pretty much always have sold used records. Of course, with the CD boom of the late 90s late 80s and early 90s, and it became primarily CDs. But we still carried records that whole time.
Yeah.
We almost went out of business, a couple of times. Given, well, you guys pretty much know the history of record stores, and we're the only one here to have survived all that time. I purchased the place in 1985 and have owned it since then. And let's see, and things have gotten better the last couple of years thanks to these things selling, and that's why a lot of stores. I haven't really heard of any closures recently in the in the state or anything more. There are actually stores opening up now, which is good to see. Well, I mean, it's just fun. It's like being at a sober party every day, pretty much. I mean, you listen to music and you talk to people. Not that, I mean, there are some nut jobs that come into the store, that can be trying, but mostly they're all nice people and they're all music lovers, and it's kind of the thing I would experience if I went to some party and was having a drink with somebody and talking, and so it's that's kind of it's just a lot of fun. I mean, there's work involved, but I mean, here at work, I'm looking at these and pricing them, and is that work? I get paid for this? That's sort of, and I listen to whatever music I want to listen to, and But I mean, it was very stressful though when everything collapsed, starting with Napster, and I used to have two stores. We had one in Eugene, and that closed, and then everything just kept going down. I lost the home I lived in. I lost almost everything I owned just to keep the place afloat, and then things have just slowly, in the last few years, started to come back. It's never going to be at the levels it once was. But to be able to make a living at it is a good thing, and it provides a lot of people in the community appreciate that we're here, so it makes it fun because a lot of people really appreciate what we do. So it's not just a selfish thing. People love really passionate people about vinyl, and if I can provide good quality vinyl to people, it's actually really fun and rewarding because they come in and they thank me all the time for doing what I do and being here.
Why do you think we're seeing a lot more younger people in shops? That's across the board.
We're in a college town. We get a lot of that, yeah.
Why do you think that is? I mean, these are people who literally grew up with the digital download.
I think that is actually the very reason why, just what you said, because they grew up with nothing. Digital download doesn't have this and the poster inside and all of that stuff. So they sort of discovered that, wow, you mean you can really get something with your music that's collectible? That's worth money? I mean, a download, as you know, if you have 1 trillion downloads, you can sell those for exactly that amount of money. You buy this for me, you can sell it back to me. You can, a couple of years from now, it'll be worth even more money if you take good care of it. So it's actually an investment of money. And of course, as you probably know, at least my experience, is that if you have a proper stereo system and a good needle and speakers and all of that, they sound better than the digital format does. So you get better sound, you get something that's worth money, I love the album covers. I grew up on them. I couldn't wait in the 1970s to buy an album, open it up, see what's inside. There might be a poster, some stickers, something like that. Sitting on my bed, like doing this, reading the lyrics, the sheet, and pulling it out. I mean, that was a great experience. And college students, because I deal with them all the time here, and because Oregon State University is just right here, so I deal with them all the time, and they're telling me that, yeah, they're having these experiences, and it's just like, yeah, just like I did when I was 16 back a trillion years ago. And so that experience I had is not lost on, today's kids, I mean, still most of them obviously just rip things off the net and do it that way, but more and more are realizing that, hey, there's more to this, I bought a shop in 1985. CDs started coming in just after that, and then everybody mistakenly, because we were all vinyl when I first bought the shop, decided that CDs were better, and then they had to replace their entire LP collections with CDs, and all of a sudden I had a huge stack of money. I just happened to be standing there, and all of a sudden these hundreds and hundreds of people came in, and I mean, the business grew so fast, it was just hard to even believe. I had a second store like instantly, and bought a house, and just was living the high life, and all of that, just like that, and and CDs were convenient, and that's, they were smaller, pop them in your player in your car. It was easy to carry around and easy to store at home. They didn't take up as much, so the convenience factor, that's where I got the 70% of Americans that wanted convenience, and they just I was printing money, and then Napster came in, even more convenient, and those 70% disappeared. So that's pretty much how I see it, from sitting behind this counter for so long. This is actually our second location. We moved here in 2001. We were about a block away at a larger place, and when we first moved here, this entire downstairs was all CDs, and we have an upstairs area, and we had the LPs up there, and even at the old location with the big CD boom in the 90s, when very few people were buying vinyl, we still had a room upstairs. Probably about the size of this area right here that was all vinyl. So I never got rid of them. We always carried them. They didn't sell very well, but there were a hardcore group of people back then. I have to give them credit because they were like, no, LPs are better. And everybody's like, you're crazy. And they happened to be right. Someone had told me that they now have about 6 pressing plants in the United States, vinyl pressing plants.
Correct.
And that they can't keep up with the demand.
No.
They're running overtime, and that's part of the reason why a lot of things that are in print that I'm able to get, then all of a sudden I can't get. The supply seems to dry up for 6 months, and it's just because they're just overworked. They can't get to everything. I've got lots of stuff on back order and it eventually comes in, but it's not a steady supply. So they need to build more record pressing plants to catch up with. That's one thing that's absolutely for sure, is that I can't get enough product to match the demand, either new or used. The used just flies out of here because my prices are very reasonable. So I'm trying to build up an inventory, and I keep failing because people buy it faster than I can actually supply it. It's a different experience buying in person and online, and typically I don't really shop online, so I would think you could probably get better bargains overall in person. Certainly at this shop you can. I know occasionally when I look on the internet for certain vinyl, they are, I don't know what they're actually getting, but they're asking just ridiculous top dollar for stuff. And I know there's a shop in Salem that a friend of mine goes to that he has everything listed online and in person, and he gives you a discount if you come in person. He'll knock 20% off if you're actually going to give him cash there at that, rather than having to go through all the trouble of shipping it. So number one, I think you can save money by doing it, and it's the experience. Don't you want to leave the house and do something? Like when I was in high school and college, all we wanted to do was go out and go to a bookstore, a nice bar to have a beer, and I would go up to Berkeley, California. I lived in San Jose. I would drive up there, spend an entire Saturday going to bookstores, record stores. We'd go to some place to eat. It was something to do. It was fun. I'm not just going to sit at home all the time and stare into a tiny screen. It's not really. It's actually fun to step out of the front door and do something. And also to actually look at the product. It's different looking at the product than seeing it online. Actually having it in your hands is a little, and you can actually pull it out and say, is this in the condition I really want? That's the other thing. If you're buying used vinyl, I would really hesitate doing it online and not actually looking at it. I want to look at it before I pay for it. And so you come in here and you can do that. So that's definitely an advantage. The greatest day I had in our history of our shop was in, I wish I could give you the year, it was the early 90s, and back then we had midnight sales. This is of course before the internet. And you would have big releases that you couldn't sell until, it was always Tuesday was the release date. And so, but we could sell it at midnight that Monday night because it becomes Tuesday. And we were at, like I say, we were about a block over there, and see David, there was Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Pink Floyd. They had bundled up all these major releases, Soundgarden, 9 Inch Nails, I think, and then they gave us promotional items to give away. Probably about 50 posters. We had a Pearl Jam mobile. We had all these weird promotional items that we could give away with each person. We had 200 people in line all around the block. And it happened to snow. It doesn't snow here very often. And I remember, I'm waiting inside, and I walk outside just to take a look. And I'm walking around the block, and everybody, they're drinking whiskey, they're smoking joints. It's this huge, community party, And I remember standing there going, damn, it's good to own a record store. This is fun. The whole community is coming out. They love music. They're smoking joints. They're drinking. They're all having a good time, And damn, this, you know. And of course, when the internet hit, and I'm saying, boy, they're missing out on that. That was fun. The people that were there had fun. They got special, you know, well, about the first 50 people got special items. You know, I don't know how many thousands of dollars of business I did in 45 minutes, just make your head spin, which was really fun. But I mean, it was really fun, and the people had fun. You know, I mean, it really was, you know, a celebration of art and community, you know, and together. And Record Store Day is sort of not here, but I've seen the photos and videos that at other stores, yeah, there's people lined up around the block, man. This is cool. This is fun. And I don't know if they're smoking joints and drinking whiskey, but, you know, hopefully they're having a good time.